my last deployment to Iraq in 2016, 2017, my role was the Joint Plans Officer for the Special Operations Coalition. And I was working with an amazing team of very smart people, including, a former US fighter pilot and a SAMS graduate and all this. But our role was to not plan anything less than it was 6 months out from commencing. So there was a 6 months buffer. As soon as it came into that buffer, then we passed it to the operations team. And the fact to be able to create this time and space gap whereby we had the opportunity to actually sit down and critically review and discuss and plan things, I remember from a personal mindset was incredible, as opposed to dealing with the spot fires and dealing with the daily operational critical needs. There's always a place to be able to sit there and ground yourself in a creative process, apply absolute logic and structure, but really enable your headspace to not be dealing with any form of stress activation, any form of cortisol, any form of that biology that goes with stress or the immediate requirement, including adrenaline, to really get through a product and deliver. And then to be able to do that on that deployment, what was I there for, like 4 months, a little bit more, and to be able to do that over a sustained period of time. I even remember my fitness regime and my nutrition and my sleep, all these things. I was in such a better mindset, which was fascinating because at that time in Iraq, I remember it was particularly when ISIS had developed the technology to start dropping 40 mil high explosive grenades and all this from, those little gyrocopter drones. They had this regular propaganda piece where they were flying these drones over Iraqi and coalition forces and dropping them. They were actually putting cameras on the end of the 40 mil bombs when they dropped them as well. And these were these terrible propaganda videos. They were talking about how they were killing and maiming people, and that was a capability we'd never really identified as a threat in a conventional war zone, even unconventional war zone. We had the big proper high flying UAVs dropping bombs and all this, but we'd always had air superiority, whereas these could be picked up by anyone. And the amount of air drills we had just there in our comfortable headquarter forward operating base, and you would have seen from even one of my videos when one night laying in bed on Snapchat, there was a rocket attack came in and landed about 100 meters from my bed. It was probably the most uncertainty or even potential lack of security or actual risk I'd ever had during my vulnerable times, during the times where I wasn't all geared up outside the wire. But it was just fascinating for me where my mindset was so crystal clear, and I wasn't out there doing all the cool stuff, but the ability to actually have that time and space in my professional requirements really enabled better alignment on my personal and personality side of the house. And it really was a very fascinating nexus for me to appreciate what can be achieved, even in a corporate perspective when we get into proper strategy to create the conditions for conducive professional deep diving learning and mindset and everything else in between.